It's Friday. Gotta get down on Friday. Down to this BumbleKast here. Can you just feel the energy surging here at the end of the week as we scrape our way to another BumbleKast? I'm your host, Ian Flynn, the Bumble King. Joining me as always is my Bumble co-host, Kyle JCRB Krause. I don't know if I like these new intros that I'm doing.
I don't know. I don't know either.
They aren't very BumbleKasty.
Yeah, but what is the BumbleKast even? I don't even know. What is BumbleKasty?
It's that big, how do you do, punch in the face. Welcome to the BumbleKast. I'm pretending to have energy and answer your questions, blah, 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 blah. This whole, let's be kind of silly and defy convention. It's just not working. So you know what? We're going to stop that. Next week, back to standard. Okay. Nothing new, no innovation. We're going to go with what we know, what you're comfortable with.
Innovation is for suckers anyway. Who wants to innovate when you can stagnate instead?
Exactly.
Sounds perfect to me.
Speaking of sticking true to form, we got our standard Q&A today, and where do these questions come from, sir?
These all come from our YouTube comments, and some of these have been sitting for quite a while. We've gotten a lot of questions. Let's go ahead and maybe make a slight dent in them today.
We are going to do our best to answer everything that comes in, but if you want to make sure your question gets answered sooner rather than later, become a patron over at patreon.com/BumbleKast, Ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, or a YouTube member.
Indeed. All right. Well, we're going to start off with one from Metal Skulkbane. Chaos Control. I can buy that Sonic is so special that he can use it. No one else spent so much time with rings, Chaos Emeralds, and special stages, etc. that would affect him. But what about Silver and Black Doom? Or Mega Man? Can anyone use Chaos Control if they believe hard enough? On that note, I'm aware of Schrodinger Big the Cat of Shadow needs Emerald to use Chaos Control, except when he doesn't. So if it was up to you, how would you justify it? Personally, I always thought it had something more to do with his story in Sonic Battle, which ends with him giving up Emeralds and claiming, I don't need it anymore.
Oh, there's a lot to that one. Okay, number one, Chaos Control seems to be a racial trait to the Black Arms. So that's how Black Doom can do it, and that's why Shadow can do it. He has Black Arms DNA. Why Sonic can do it becomes even more of a question mark, but he's a shonen protagonist. He just does.
It's either those dang blue arms or those darn tan arms. It could go either way.
Mm-hmm. Silver, I don't know if you want to buy into the theory that he's somehow Shadow's descendant, which doesn't make a ton of sense, but he's a shonen protagonist. That's why he can do it. They needed that rule of cool moment in 06.
Mm-hmm. Apparently Metal can also do Chaos Control.
Well, he had the bio data of the other guys.
Okay, that's probably why.
And Mega Man, his whole thing is adaptive.
Yeah.
He's got that copy chip. He copied Chaos Control.
Chaos Control sounds like a weapon in Mega Man.
And he's a shonen protagonist. He needed it for that rule of cool moment.
Yeah. I mean, this is just where we are now. Everything is shonen.
So yeah, in universe, I guess it kind of falls under almost anyone can do it if they're strong-willed enough. But that opens up so many doors. That's awful. I mean, anyone can use the Chaos Emeralds, presumably. I mean, Elise uses them in 06, but I don't know, man. They're magical MacGuffins that do whatever the story needs, and that's such a thing to write around. I don't remember the line you're quoting from Battle. I'd want to see that scene again for context to make absolutely sure that's what the implication is. But Battle, as much as I lean on it for some stuff, I don't know how canon it really is deep down. I mean, the emeralds can't be shattered, and yet one of them was to power the Phis, And I seem to remember they were all green, too. So, I don't know. Everything is canon.
Everything is green. Here's a question from Vlad C. If you were able to include Eclipse in IDW, how different would things be? Would SEGA approve of stuff like the Dark Arms? You certainly can't write Shadow the way he was written in the reboot anymore. So, would you have Eclipse even act the same way himself? What would you decide to change about him for the sake of not repeating things?
That is a wrinkle I hadn't thought of. Like, Eclipse, in my mind, could be fairly easily transplanted wholesale. But part of the dynamic was him and Shadow.
Yeah.
And Shadow having that momentary, desire to not wipe out the closest thing he actually has to kin, whereas current Shadow would not hesitate. That's depressing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess in that regard, you just lean into Eclipse even more. Like, Eclipse was already pretty much Liquid Snake. Now we're talking like Guns of the Patriots possessed armed Ocelot Liquid. Excuse me, Liquid Ocelot from Metal Gear Solid 4. Just unabashedly have him be all the charisma and character that Shadow lacks. Have him just loving life and ending it.
Perfect.
Beyond that, I don't know. I know Sega in general just doesn't like to touch any of the old Archie stuff for obvious reasons, even stuff that should be in the clear. But by himself, he was built to be very game accessible. So I would think he'd still transfer over just fine without having to tweak too much. And it would be a lot of retread, I guess, in terms of personal desires, but he wouldn't get as much play off of Shadow, so he would be carrying a lot of that narrative by himself. But at the same time, I feel like his narrative is accessible enough that it isn't necessarily a bad thing to see again, and we didn't get to see him a ton. Like, he didn't get to advance much. So there would be a little bit of retreading of old ground, but we hadn't gone too far with him to begin with, so he would just have more room to grow, maybe.
Yeah, it would be interesting. I'd like to see that dynamic return. It would be different, but I feel like there could still be there's some life left in that yet. Come on, Sega, don't be scared. Here's a question from Toad is Forgotten. I remember Toad. What is the reason for Sonic not having his mouth in the middle anymore? I realize after 06, he didn't have the middle mouth as much in the main games. Was it because of that game?
I don't know.
It's because Sega can't decide where they want his mouth to be.
It might be easier to animate, but I have no insider insight on that.
I don't know how I feel about the side mouth versus the center mouth. I don't know. It depends. Sometimes it looks okay. Sometimes it looks weird and oh well. Playerback772 has a question. Can Emerald take out the entire group of the Deadly Six simultaneously, both for games and IDW?
If we're talking like end game Emerald and he got the drop on him, maybe. But the minute any of them get a clear shot with their EMP powers, that's it. Emerald's done for.
Emerald wasn't in Endgame, though, Ian. That was way before.
Kyle?
Yeah, what's up?
You know what I meant.
Yeah, but it's funnier this way.
Yeah. Do you like Kyle busting my chops? Comment below and let us know if we should continue this.
Probably not.
Are you kidding? They're probably going to ask you to do it more.
Well, I'm not clever or smart enough to do that on command easily. You gotta like throw it right in my lap. Like it's gotta be like super, super obvious. And we got here a question here from Argyle. What exactly is the line for a fan idea? I speak in reference to what was a theory on how the Rush duology, trilogy, does Colors DS count, and 06 relate. It pulled from things already canonically established, Emerald Isekai, and the fact 06 writes itself from canon, and isn't a proposal for a new plot thread, but just an attempted explanation on canon using what's presented. Does this mean that if a fan showed you their predictions in the plot of the comic and was spot on, you'd have to change it because now it's a fan idea?
Well, the line is a little fuzzy, but in the terms of making sense of Rush and 06 and all that, there isn't a clear answer that I'm aware of. And while you are right in that there is material presented in the game, it is your interpretation of that material and your personal way of putting it together. You know, even if all the building blocks make sense in a certain way, 06, that whole bit with 06 and Rush and all that is such a mess that they're, even with the canonical pieces, how they're fit together is a fan concept. And what you come up with may make a lot of sense, but it may not jive with what the official word is. And if someone in a professional position and a creative one, such as myself, were to see that and then propose that and it get adopted officially, that's me taking a fan idea. Doesn't matter that the components are official, it's the interpretation and utilization of them. And this is something that we kind of touched upon in the last episode, in setting things up in a sensible way. If the stories that we're doing in IDW are leading towards something and you're perceptive enough to figure out where that's going to go and you guess it online, that's different than you coming up with your own personal storyline and it happens to coincide with what we're doing. And to be safe, that's why I don't look at any fan stuff, because regardless of where things are in production, I don't want to open myself up to allegations of, oh, clearly they had time to utilize this person's idea and fit it into the pipeline, even if that doesn't make any sense and it doesn't work. That wall of deniability is something that protects both me and you. So maybe I'm a little paranoid, maybe I'm a little overprotective, but the Sonic fandom is just an endless font of creativity, like nonstop. And that's incredibly encouraging and impressive. But in my position, especially given how active I am with the fan base, I have to be the no fun fuddy-duddy for everybody's benefit.
I think you are maybe a little bit too paranoid, but oh well, better to be over paranoid than not paranoid enough, I suppose.
Like, for me, all it takes is for one bad scenario to play out to bring the whole house of cards down.
Right.
It takes one person to get a chip on their shoulder and have an ounce of validity to their claim to ruin things for everybody else.
And enough of money to, open up an actual case too. That's key, though.
By denying even the slightest opportunity, I sleep better at night knowing I don't have to even worry about it because I just don't go there.
Right. Alrighty. Here's a question from Goosey Tanty. Hey guys, are there ever situations where you disagree on writing decisions? Well, I don't, because, Ian's the professional writer here, so I don't disagree on those. But what about you, Ian?
Well, there's got to be something that I've written that you're like, hey, you could have done something better.
Yeah, there is.
Okay, so there you go.
Yeah.
Like what?
But like the things we've worked on together. I'm just
well.
Yeah.
Well, even then, there's been the occasional question that's come up that we've reviewed, and it's like, okay. How do we want to tackle it? How do we want to address it? Do we even want to? But
sure, yeah.
We talk it out and come to a consensus.
Yeah, I know. That's weird. How do they do that? How do other people do that? I don't know. We need to figure out how other people can do that.
It's almost like there's mutual respect there.
You respect me? That's weird. I'm confused by that. Anyway, answer the question.
Well, I so seldom collaborate with other writers directly. All right, so I guess the most recent stuff with Evan that I can't talk about for the most part because, hashtag knowing smile and all that fun stuff. I still see her as lead writer right now, so I'm going to follow her lead for the most part. And most of what happened the last time we collaborated on anything was, me asking questions about stuff. Like, where is this going? Or what is your thinking with this? How is this putting together if I don't immediately see it? And if there's something that I feel like I would have preferred to see another way, that's what I would pitch. It's like, okay, there's this happening. What if it went this way instead because of X, Y, and Z? And sometimes she's like, yeah, that actually works better. I like that better. Do with that. Or actually, I was thinking it to go more this way because of ABC. It's like, oh, okay, I see where you're going with that. Never mind. Go that way. And then, send that to the editors. And then they come back with, we want this change because of 1, 2, 3. And then we talk about it. And it's like, all right, so they didn't like this aspect. What if we did it such a way? I don't know. It's like you and me. We talk it out.
Yeah, sure.
And if it came down to something where like she was dead set on an idea and I was like totally not vibing with it, then shut my mouth because she's lead writer. Maybe she's got something that's working that I just don't see, in which case she do, and we'll see how it goes.
Yes, sounds good. I think that's a much better way to work than just kind of ignoring each other and not going off doing your own things. Yeah, no, that doesn't go well. Here's a question from Team Kingdom Key. Any tips for someone not good at the classic Sonic games on how to get better at the games, especially the special stages and those damn Chaos Emeralds?
Man, you figure it out, you tell me. I'm notoriously bad at games in general.
Okay, the answer here is to go back being a child, have nothing you've got to worry about doing, nothing you have to think about, no adult worries or anything, and just sit there and play the games over and over and over and over again all the time, forever, for hours.
Nope, never worked for me.
And then practice. You just gotta practice. That's how I did it.
I never beat Sonic 2 without the debug code, man.
It's not that hard.
I can't get past Wing Fortress.
What? How?
Like, there's that bit with the fold away platforms. Never got past it.
What fold away platforms?
It's like, I don't know, halfway through the stage, and you're standing on the wing, and there's these little platforms that kind of pop out and pop back in.
Oh,
and the timing of it never made sense to me. I never could get past it.
I don't think you even have to do that part. Okay, yeah, I know what you mean now. I know what you mean. Like the disappearing platforms. They're like Mega Man blocks, yeah.
More or less, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there are ways around that where you don't even have to do that. I think. I don't remember having to always
never found it.
I don't remember having to always do that. I mean, do you go up past the Clucky, or not the Clucky, the oh man, what's the first enemy?
Let me put it this way. I didn't know there was an alternate route until you said so right now.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, the bottom route sucks. Don't go that way.
I didn't know there was an upper route.
You can, if you go like the top platform, like after you get down and you go over the fans, you go through the initial like back and forth part, and then you go over the 2 fans that push you up, and then the cluck that's shooting at you, you destroy that, and you hop on its little pedestal, and then you jump up to the higher platform up above you, and then you get to the end of that platform and jump up again, and that takes you to an upper part of the stage, and then you go back and go left, and then you go up to the very upper toppest part of the stage, and then you go back to the right and keep going, and that will get you past most of the crap.
Oh, so younger me, who was using debug to get further, was wondering why they had so much stage there if you can't access it.
Yeah, but you can.
Yeah, well, there you go.
I mean, I may not have noticed that at first, but I spent a lot of time playing Sonic, man. Without the cheats. I kind of lived and breathed those stupid games. But yes, my thing was just spend all your time playing the games. Like I had Sonic 1 and 2, and I played them endlessly, constantly, all the time. So yeah, that was me. That was my that was how I got there. So practice. You got to practice a lot, though. Essentially, that's really it. It just comes down to kind of memorizing things and knowing where to go. All right, here's a question from Miles T. Prower. Hey Ian, everyone gives some slack to the Worlds Unite, and for understandable reasons. However, I do believe there are some good/great things in that book, like Nicole and Quake Women interacting, or just Amaterasu's presence. So my question is, what are some things from the comic that you like?
Everybody's side battle stories were really good.
Yes, those were.
Maybe this is my bias showing, but I thought Leah's Proto Man and Knuckles story was especially poignant.
Mm-hmm. It's a good one.
I'm super biased, but the fact we got to have Vice fire the Moonstone cannon off the Delphinius straight into Sigma's face is just oh my god.
Yes.
That was my one gimme. That was, if anything else, that's what I wanted. Everything Tyson did for the back third of it.
Oh,
I mean,
yes,
Tyson. Yes, come on now.
Styx was super fun having her involved. Yeah.
Like that 2-page spread as they're invading planet Sigma.
Yeah.
In the script, it says, do what you can. Here's how I'm thinking it. And he had it like beat for beat exactly. And just, oh my God. The designs for Sigma throughout were really neat. Who did those? Was that Ryan Jampol who did those designs? I can't remember now.
Wouldn't surprise me. That guy's a beast.
Having Rock and X interact a bit was nice.
Yeah. I still like the meeting and handshake and everything with Sonic and Alex Kidd. It was hard. It was a heartwarming moment there. There's just a whole lot of little things, spread throughout that book. That story, I should say. The Street Fighter 2 pulling off their special moves while the Sonic characters, Sonic and Mega Man, watch them. That's pretty good. With Sally and Knuckles there. Sonic is very unimpressed. But Sonic Boom. No, that's no Sonic Boom. Oh man, it's a fun book. Still fun. Lots of fun moments. It doesn't quite all coalesce as a fantastic story, but there's a lot to like about it. Dragon's Den of Variety has a question. If Sonya and Manic were hypothetically in IDW Comics and or the games, which of Sonic's friends do you see them getting along with the most?
I see Amy and Sonya getting along. They seem to be relatively on the same wavelength. Sonya might be a little snooty for Amy's taste, but otherwise they get along all right. Manic and Tangle would get along just fine.
Maybe too well.
Fine.
Too well.
And kind of to the same end, I think he and Rouge would kind of get on. Where are they? Did somebody send a chaperone? Quick, check all the jewelry stores. Quick. Which then prompts Sonya to hire the Chaotix because somebody stole her jewelry.
Would Sonya still have a crush on Knuckles?
Yeah, why not?
I suppose.
I don't know if Knuckles in this incarnation would pick up on it. He can be a little dense.
Yeah.
I don't know if he would reciprocate, but, give the underground fans a little something.
Yeah, I like it. It would be nice to have some of those elements come back. Come on. Don't be scared, Sega. Darkness Rising 24 has a question. How did Eggman create those power cores? Can anyone use them?
I don't know, and maybe? I mean, if Rough and Tumble can freaking use them, anybody should.
Are you saying they're not normally that capable? How dare you, sir?
I would imagine it's kind of one of those things where if you're not prepared for it, physically or mentally, it might be a bit dangerous. Like maybe heroes like Sonic and the others are more suited for it, but in theory, anyone should be able to, I guess, maybe.
I don't know. We got a question here from Nico C. What characters from your 3 runs of American comics do you think would fit right into the games with minimal changes? They do not necessarily have to be created by you.
Well, we covered this earlier. Eclipse from Post Boot. That designed for it. He would fit super easy. IDW, just about everyone has been made with a game in mind, but Tangle especially, I feel like would be the easiest to transplant. Whisper kind of needs the Force's mechanics, and I don't know if we're going to see that kind of stuff appear again, but Tangle is just pretty much easy. You know, she's got a homing attack in the form of the tail. It's there. It's super simple. Pre-boot? Like, the Freedom Fighters could go in if we're talking RPG, but that's not really a Sonic type game. Yes, I know Chronicles exists. I'm not talking, you know what I mean. There was a pitch I had before the cancellation that was going to try to kind of pitch them as, you know, what if they had shown up in a Game Gear game and how would they have played? But that was fitting things to them retroactively. So
Yeah.
She wasn't really much of a combatant, but maybe Mina? Because she's got the speed element, and what if it was like she had kind of a rhythm platforming gimmick to go with the musical side?
It would be kind of like a modern Endless Runner game.
Yeah, maybe. Like something about how you time her jumps if they're within the rhythm of the game track. She could do better. I don't got a lot to run off of that, but she springs to mind first. And the Freedom Fighters could be made to fit a little better, but just straight up as they were more narrative-driven characters. They would have to be adjusted, whereas Mina, I feel like, wouldn't necessarily need as much work.
Mm-hmm. A suggestion here is Thrash, who would probably just play kind of like the Werehog.
Yeah.
Effectively.
Again, Thrash was... okay, I guess he was pre-boot.
He was barely.
But that was my run, and a lot of what I was doing was trying to create characters that felt more like game characters. Right. So I feel like that's kind of cheating.
Okay.
Like pre-boot, I feel like you got to look before my run, because then it's just, you know, everything I created, and goodness knows we need some variety from that.
Right. I don't know. Maybe Robbo the Hedge might be actually kind of fun. Run around and shoot arrows at everything, you know, instead of rolling into them. It would be a very different gameplay mechanic, but could be interesting.
Yeah, maybe something slightly akin to the Wisbon stuff. So you've got like trick arrows to throw out lines to swing on, and, you know, some shooting mechanics. Maybe he gets wisp infused arrows. That could be kind of fun.
Yeah.
But there you're taking, you know, it's Sonic, but he's teal.
I know. But, you know, look at all the other hedgehogs. Shadow, it's Sonic, but he's black and red.
And we touched on this on a previous episode. Julie Sue, if she was kind of like some mix between SA1, Knuckles, and Gamma.
Right,
you know, running, climbing, exploring, shooting. That might work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be fun. Well, I think that's good. I think we got a solid list there. Here's a question from Pugman. Did you know about past games? If you know that they are out, can you reveal what you did know? It would be interesting to think about, for me at least.
We did get some insight on games that we had to do adaptations for, and it varied from title to title. I have talked about it in the past on the show, I think, but I'm not sure how much of that I should have said, so check out the Q&A master list and just kind of watch it and keep it to yourself. Let's not bring that up again, maybe.
So did you know about past Sonic games? Yes. Can you tell us how much you know? No. Not anymore. Go elsewhere.
There was one that I can talk teasingly of, I guess, where, oh gosh, how did this go? I think it was going to be like an actual, I can't remember if it was going to be in an Archie book or if it was going to be part of the add-ons to Sonic 06. But there was like a brief 10-page comic that got to the breakdown phase, I think. Never got to script. And that it died on the vine. But we were given the whole script for the game as reference, and that was a trip, dude.
You had to know something about forces because you wrote the comic tie-ins. So
actually, no.
Really?
That was very different because that was directly involved with SEGA. That wasn't with a go-between.
Right. That's what I mean. So those you would have had to have at least known enough to write those.
They gave me the premises for the stories, but not much else outside of that.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like, I got the context of the stories themselves, but not for the game story so much.
Oh. Well, I guess they couldn't give away the plot of Forces, you know? Might get some ideas.
And I seem to remember that 06 was the special case because they gave us a lot for that one.
Wow.
But like almost nothing for writers. And then for Unleashed, I actually got a physical DVD with the like super high res intro cinematic.
Wow.
And that was it.
Okay.
and that's why that's what the tie-in is basically. And then the tie-in was we couldn't reference Chip in the tie-in story. So that was interesting.
Why? Spoiler alert? Or were they like, ooh, maybe don't reveal Chip because
yeah, it was a spoiler thing. It was a spoiler thing.
Okay. Maybe they were like trying to hide him, like, oh no, people are gonna hate this character. Better keep him under wraps until the last possible minute. Poor Chip. I don't think he's that bad.
And that was one of the first and hardest knowing smiles to endure because you remember how the Unleashed opening cinematic goes.
Yeah.
It's freaking gorgeous. And then the Supersonic segment starts.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, I want to watch this till the end of time. This is it. This is like peak Sonic. And then Werehog happens.
And you're like, what?
And I had to keep my mouth shut for like 3 months.
Oh no.
And they start to tease Werehog and people are going, what is this? And I'm like,
yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
And then in the end, half the fandom loves Werehog anyway, so.
Yeah, well, you know, everyone's a fan of something, Ian. That's how it always goes, and especially in Sonic, you know? Everything's got its fans. Even things like Sonic 06. Even things like Werehog. Oh, well. I guess that's
one over my Werehog, so.
That's one of the great things about Sonic, I suppose. We got a question here from Epic Blur. Of all the settings and stuff you've worked on, what is the most comfortable one for you? Settings of stories, I mean.
Fantasy. Whether it's science fantasy or fantasy, I'm much more comfortable where the rules of the world are kind of wide open and the more mundane down to earth stuff fits into that stuff that is already down to earth. I don't know. It's like pulling teeth for me. I need my fantastical world for my mundane to be palatable.
No, I get it. I understand that. What about settings of stuff, specific stuff you've worked on? Like, what's the most comfy for you?
Well, like stuff like getting into the world of Cosmo or dreaming up stuff for Young Salem, putting things together for the various incarnations of the Crusaders, Sonic, obviously.
What about like Drogoon? Are you...
Well, Drogoon, come on, man. That's science fantasy.
It's I know it's yours. I'm just thinking like, you know...
Like the only discomfort there is figuring out my limitations.
Mm-hmm.
You know, do I need to go into multiple pages explaining the lore about this stuff? No, focus on the characters. Stupid. Tell the story. You know, leave your personal Cimmerillion for the hardcore fans. Just get the main story out there. But
right.
That comes easy to me. When I was working on regular Archie stuff, that was the hardest I've ever had to work on a script. And I wasn't even writing half of it. That was a collaborative thing.
Yeah. No, I can understand that. That also seems like it's just kind of an intimidating thing to jump into, just because there's certain expectations of Archie, and yeah, I don't know. I guess I haven't read enough Archie to really know, but it just kind of seems like might be a little bit of a barrier in there for new writers coming in.
I mean, the 2-part Jughead story I co-wrote was way easier because it guest starred Sabrina and it had some magical shenanigans going on. It's like, oh, I can work with this. Okay, that's good. That's easy. Yes. Fanciful.
Yeah.
The Archie stuff was just, normal.
I know. I need ninjas to come attack at random. Come on. What the heck?
Like all the digest stuff I've done lately where, it's guest starring Sam Hill or one of the Crusaders. Again, it's that step outside of the mundane.
Yeah.
That weird bit of context that just helps. Even Sam Hill isn't that outlandish, but he at least brings the kind of absurdity of an old school gumshoe to the modern day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get it. All right, let's get into this question here from Joma. Will behind-the-scenes questions be answered after Frontiers' release, or is that a maybe not, wait-and-see thing?
I'm pretty sure my NDA extends beyond game release. I'd have to double-check, but I have an ongoing relationship with SEGA, so I don't want to rock that boat.
Yeah, no. We'll see what you can address, if anything, at any point. I don't know. Maybe
assume nothing.
Yeah.
No, wait.
For
that
now.
could mean that you shouldn't assume anything. What I mean is to say, assume that I can say nothing.
Yes. We'll go with that. Digimon Kaiser 411 has a question. Ian, how much do we need to pay you for answering all these questions as Mammoth Mogul?
Oh, tempting, but I don't think I have a good mogul voice. I'd have to do significantly more research because you need to make his dialogue just preponderous in its liquidity. And 3, that might actually get us targeted.
That would get us
certain parties.
Yeah.
Sadly, he's not in the clear, and we probably shouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm tickled by the idea. Thanks for that.
I mean, you got to channel your inner Vincent D'Onofrio Kingpin. That's really what it comes down to. That's kind of who he is.
Mogul needs that deep, resonating bass in the chest voice.
Yeah.
I'm too reedy in the throat. I'm too nasal. I can't do it.
Oh, well. You can at least do a whole episode as Black Dude. Black Dude.
Yes, please. Pay us money so I can destroy my throat for an hour.
No, that's probably not a good idea.
It's honestly not too bad if you focus it more through the palate and nasal cavity and don't make it all scratchy in the throat.
We'd have to spread it out over like several weeks.
Yeah, probably. It does take a certain kind of breathing control, but like if you do it back in the throat,
it gets more raspy, but that definitely will destroy me.
If you put it more in the nose,
it's a lot easier to do and it makes it more conversational.
Yes.
It's a little harder to emote with it though.
Yeah, but that's okay. That's part of the fun with it, I think. It's like Omega, part of the fun is being that he's always pretty monotone.
And I guess Black Doom isn't particularly sassy either. He's got that kind of almost religious overseer type of vibe to him.
I mean, he might, if he came on the show, he might get sassy.
Not Starline levels of sass.
Well, no, nobody can get that sassy, but, still. Here's a question from Kangaroo Reach. Are there plans to prioritize veteran Sonic characters in future arcs as opposed to IDW original ones? Not even arcs, maybe just single-issue short stories or self-contained 3-parters? I think it'd be cool to see more one-off partnerships you wouldn't expect from the Gamecast, explored in a non-committal short and sweet format.
You're going to freaking love this year's annual, which, given when this episode is coming out, I think if you're listening to this episode live or now or fresh, that issue just came out. So go get it.
Nice.
As for plans for 2023, hashtag knowing smile.
And here's a question from ARS. Which characters are your favorite to write? I know I've certainly loved reading about pretty much every new IDW original character. Probably not an uncommon opinion, but I think Whisper is my favorite.
I try to find something fun to write about everybody, but Eggman is easily my favorite by far.
He's a fun character. I mean, he's a terrible person. Awful.
Yeah, but you get to be mean in the most fun ways.
Yeah. In ways you can't be in real life, or ways you may not want to be in real life necessarily even, but I don't know. There's something fun about that. Do you still miss Bean?
I do, but here's the thing with Bean. I've set the expectation now. People want him to be funny and off the cuff, and comedy is hard.
Right. Yeah.
So I have to land the jokes with him. Everybody else is more character driven. They have that range, but they expect Bean to be goofy. And it's like, now he's hard.
Yeah, it's kind of like Styx in that way, I suppose, too. She has to be funny. Hard to be funny all the time.
And you have to be able to do the funny kind of conspiracy theorist without becoming insulting.
Yeah.
Or making her seem deranged, which is also insulting.
Very thin line to tread with her in a lot of ways, yeah. Well, you know. We got a question here from Aaron M. before we take a break, and they ask, I noticed that you said there's no money in Sonic, but I remember coming across cases of seeing Sonic and Eggman using money in the Boom universe. Do you think money is just exclusive to that universe?
No, it's a bad universe note. I'm just going to say it. I'm just going to straight out say it. It's a bad note. Clearly, there is money in Sonic's universe. The Chaotix are constantly looking to be paid. Eggman promises to pay. Jet looks for treasure. There's dollar bills flying around in security vault. It's a functioning society. There's got to be some means of economic exchange. There's money in the Sonic universe. I've just received the note that there isn't, and it's kind of become a running gag on the show.
It's kind of could become a running gag in the franchise.
I'm optimistic that note will change. We killed 2 worlds. That's dead. So the next thing that needs to go is this concept of there's no monetary thing in Sonic's world. It exists. We just have to settle on it.
You're gonna... Oh, now I'm sad. The no money thing was all I had to live for, Ian.
You know, they say no money, more problems.
Apparently. Just what we need in Sonic. Capitalism. Anyway, we're going to make some money, so we got to take a break. We'll be back with more BumbleKast. And we're back. Here's a question from Lauren M. In the Sonic games, we've seen South Island in Sonic 1, West Side Island in Sonic 2, North Island in Fighters, the place where Bark is from. But do you think we will ever get an East Side Island or something of the sort in the games?
I wouldn't see why not.
What is it east of?
What is South Island south of?
Yeah, exactly. What is West Side Island? West Side Island is south of East Side Island. West of East Side Island. I don't know, man.
There's a bajillion islands on the world, so I'm sure we'll see something like that someday somewhere.
Bring back Christmas Island. Do it. Here's a question from Speedy. What is Tails like doing in his spare time besides tinkering?
Reading, I imagine. Hiking, camping.
Playing video games with Sonic.
Yeah. Mostly tinkering, but,
yeah,
you know, he has other hobbies. Flying, for pity's sake. Just take the tornado out for a spin.
Or just twist up his butt and go for a flight there for a minute or however long he can fly. Not very long.
It's like combining hiking with flying.
Yeah, that's cheating. Oh, well, fine. I guess he can do that. Here's a question from James R. Why is Eggman so obsessed with building Eggman Land? Did he go to an amusement park when he was a child and got hooked on it, or is it just a side effect of him going crazy?
He just likes theme parks. You know, they're fun, they're bright, they're colorful, they're entertaining. Like him.
Don't judge a guy for liking theme parks.
I mean, theme parks are all about the spectacle and getting lost in their own little world, and he is very much lost in his own little world. So you come there and you celebrate all the majesty. That is Eggman.
So much majesty. Consummate V's everywhere. We got a question from Gamer Girls Channel 2.0. How would the Sonic cast interact with standard D&D characters? How would the more magic-based world be in a sci-fi/technology-based one? To be honest, I just want to see Tails with a Warforged or Artificer Gnome character, or a snooty elf anything interacting with a hothead like Knuckles.
We're getting out of my depth here. Like, I have a surface level understanding of D&D, but
I mean, you know the tropes.
I know the
types.
tropes, but I think what Gamer Girls is looking for is like a little more in the weeds.
Maybe,
you know, actual builds for characters and stuff, and that's outside of my wheelhouse.
Sonic,
unfortunately.
Knuckles and his snooty elf would be like Legolas and Gimli interacting. You know,
yeah, I suppose.
They hate each other at first, but then they become friends.
If we're talking movie versions,
yes.
I
have my bow and my fist.
Yeah, Knuckles would absolutely 100% volunteer to escort Frodo to Mount Doom.
Oh yeah, a
Warforged. You got a lot of heart, kid. I'm like 47. Well, you're kid sized. You're the same height as me. We're taking the ring now, aren't we? We're not talking Tolkien. We're talking D&D.
Yeah, I mean, one's based on the other. Warforged is just a living robot, so a living machine.
So, Tails would be all over that.
Oh yeah, he would love that. An artificer is basically like an inventor sort of character.
Again,
basically Tails would be like an artificer. Yeah.
He'd be geeking out with them and trying to understand how their tech works.
Yes. It's very
like, what does this machine run on? Mana?
Magic.
And what is the conversion on that?
It's very magitech-y. Yes. Oh, don't worry. There's a lot of stuff like that.
Sonic would just kind of roll with it all. He's just chill like that.
Oh, yeah.
You know, as long as you're not a jerk, he's going to get along with you. And in a completely different setting. I mean, shoot, look at Black Knight. He gets beamed into a swords and sorcery fantasy world, and he's like, cool. All right.
Cool. Where's the sword? You got any one of those here? We got lots of swords. Here you go. Lots of kings to kill. Perfect.
He starts talking to his sword, and everyone's giving him weird looks. Oh, they don't do this here? That's too bad.
Some of them do. Cursed swords. That would probably be a bad thing. The last thing you want is to give Sonic a sword that says kill your friends. They like to do that. I don't know, man. I think it would be pretty fun. It would work right in there because Sonic, you know, it's the great thing about Sonic. He's just totally right in there. He's just
he's a very malleable franchise, but I imagine Vector would be very excited. So you're telling me you're gonna point me in a direction I gotta beat up some kobolds and I get cash? It's that easy? Come on, boys, we're going questing.
They're getting lots of gold. They're loading up. Fantastic. And let's see what else.
Man, that's a D&D campaign you need to do. Get your party just the Chaotix.
That would be amazing. That'd be super fun.
Vector would be your barbarian with all his stats dumped into intelligence and strength.
Yeah.
Espio's a rogue.
Yeah, either a rogue or a monk or both.
Yeah. Charmy, I don't know, is there anything that has flight intrinsic to it?
Charmy you might have to play around with.
I mean, are there any
you might have to
classes?
homebrew. Yeah, there are. You'd have to homebrew something with him, but there might be something like that. You can make it work. There's so much material out there for.
Yeah, make him a Fey class and, very hard, chaotic good.
Yeah. Like I think there are like homebrew fairy classes and stuff too. So things like that where you'd have to massage it a little bit to get him to fit, but you can make it work. Yeah. That would be a lot of fun. Oh man, I want to see this. Well, maybe someday. Here's a question from Oreo's Splash. I'm kind of curious about other Zeti. Do they follow the same culture as the Deadly Six? Are they actually kind? But I get the reasoning why you wouldn't expand it.
I don't know. And I'm super curious about that myself. On the one hand, I would love to do a deep dive into Lost Hex and the Zeti and just what is that world? What is its history? What is its culture? What regions have we not seen? Just blow the lid off the whole thing and get all creative. And on the other hand, they're not like the most popular thing in the franchise, so
yeah,
we could focus elsewhere. But
yeah,
I don't know. SEGA, if you ever want to do like a full Zeti spin-off franchise, give me a call. We'll do lunch.
Make it work. Here's a question from Sonic Fighter 09. Since you work on Mega Man, do you think you might write a story for a Mighty Number 9 comic?
If given the opportunity, sure.
Well, Mighty Number 9 as a franchise is kind of in stasis, but outside of crossovers with Gunvolt, but that's about it. And those are mainly Gunvolt. End up being mainly Gunvolt.
If it ever got revived, sure. I mean, I'm not going to turn down work. Are you crazy? I'm freelance.
Here's a question from Michael E. If IDW were to ever go under, do you have a quick final issue plot you could pull out to wrap up some of the run? I know you're not the main writer anymore, and you probably can't go into any detail whatsoever, but I'd be interested to know how you plan for different potential scenarios, especially given the rocky luck the comic has had.
No, short answer. Long answer, since IDW Sonic is more in the spirit of the core franchise, it doesn't have an end in mind. Not that the others did either, but it's less of here is the central group that has this ultimate goal to achieve. It's more of a litany of adventures. So if I were to get the call to say, oops, it's done, we get one issue left, I would do something probably like a curtain call, something that was themed around the idea that the stories go on, even if the book does not, promote the idea of the enduring spirit of adventure and leave it open-ended. Because you can't close off everything that's currently running right now in one issue, and it shouldn't. That's the thing with Sonic, is he endures. He always goes on. He always moves forward. So even if the comics were to stop, his adventures would live on.
Mm-hmm.
Try to end it on that happy or at least positive note.
Yeah, makes sense. All right, we got a question here from the Lego Fan 21. In With Me, the final boss song of Black Knight, being that it's from Merlina's perspective, she called herself evil. Quote, do you dare to fight evil's might? Unquote. Does this mean that she knows what she's doing is wrong, but has too high of a drive? Something else? Or am I just reading too into a great song?
I wouldn't read too literally into it. I would spend more time just rocking out, because yes, that is one of the greatest songs ever composed. But I think that is a theme within the story itself. Like, Sonic from the get-go knows that he is going to be a fallen knight. He's there to take down the king. And he's like, yeah, all right, that's what I gotta need to do. And Merlina, to that extent, knows that she is robbing the book world of its destiny by stopping it, by putting it into stasis. She's taking over everything. She's denying everyone their free will, such as it is, because she wants to preserve it. She wants to prevent the bad end of the book, and she will victimize everyone to see it done. In her mind, yes, she's doing what would be seen as evil, but in her mind is the greater good. Which is why Black Knight has one of the best stories out of any Sonic game.
Yeah. All right, here's a question from John M. Why is Mighty considered stronger than Knuckles?
I don't know. That seems to be kind of just like fanon that's been adopted.
Because he's mighty. I mean,
yeah.
What other reason do you need?
I mean, Knuckles already has a lot going for him. He can climb, he can glide, he's got the whole Master Emerald connection in Angel Island, and he's, Sonic's frenemy. He's got so much going for him. Mighty getting the one perk of being technically stronger is like his one claim to fame.
Yeah, and he's got the shell, and he bounces off of spikes, so Knuckles can't even do damage to him with his knuckles. So there you go. It makes sense to me. If you're a character who's stronger than Spikes, you're good to go.
And I guess he does have that, what's the official term for it? That drop smashy thing he does in Mania.
Oh, I forget what it's drop. I know what you mean. I forget what it's called.
But the fact that you can smush Badniks just from the impact wave.
Yeah, I guess a ground pound is probably the closest thing you could call it, but I don't think that's its official name.
Mighty is best boy.
God, I miss that guy. Kitten Soldier has a question. How exactly did Sonic Speed fight the metal virus, other than for the sake of keeping him alive for plot reasons?
This we've touched upon the show in the past. I know we must have. It's the same reason why his speed was able to reverse the erasure of time. It's the same reason it allows him to do anything else the plot requires. His speed is just fantastical.
All right. Here's a question from Supersonic 93. For my question, when Cosmo returns to the series, games, comics, or both, will her older sister Galaxyna also be spared from her death and join her little sister on her adventures with Sonic?
Zero idea. This is assuming Cosmo comes back, which is a big assumption. And it would also assume that it follows the Sonic X canon, which I think is a big ask. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Here's one from Psychotic. Would Sonic be able to destroy something like a planet in any form? Also, where does his destructive power stop at? Like a star-level destructive power in super form?
Super's not that destructive. I mean, Doomsday Zone, you plow through asteroids and it slows him down. Like, if he were to get a running start and try to spin dash the planet, he might be able to do some property damage, but I don't think he's a world buster.
Nah, not quite.
Like, even Hypersonic can, do a localized energy blast thingy, but he's not literally tearing up the landscape. They're strong against, industrial products, but I don't think he's remotely world breaker material. I don't even think he's like terrain reshaping.
No, not yet. Maybe someday. We got a question from cosmicman ITA. Master Mogul was destroying millions of multiverses, which means exist other infinite multiverses than the Mega Man's one?
I'd have to look at the story's context again, but the thing about the multiverse is there are an infinite number of possibilities, at least conceptually. So just within the cosmic frame of Sonic, there's an infinite number. Millions of multiverses destroyed in that context is a drop in the bucket because there's going to be infinitely more.
All right, here's a question from Bubble Revolution. I had a question about the Encyclopedia. You mentioned that one character had their name changed by SEGA, but couldn't talk about it at the time. Was the character in question Cucky/Clucky? If not, are you able to talk about who it was since the book is released? Because I've been looking and can't tell you who it might be talking about otherwise.
Yeah, it was Hockey Wolf.
Huh?
There was a lot of discussion over how the Witch Carter's names were going to be localized, because apparently what was done in the old Archie books didn't count. And the one that was, they all had a bit of back and forth on them. And with Hockey Wolf, the original name we gave him was Fokke Wolf, which, number one, you have to be very careful how you say that. And number two, the whole joke was it was based on a German aeronautics manufacturer, and they were concerned that might skirt the line of copyright infringement. So because Japanese, the kanji in question could be interpreted a couple ways, we went with Hake Wolf because that's technically a way you can properly translate it, and it's also legally in the clear. So he is now Hake Wolf.
Well, better than hawking something else, I guess. Hake Wolf, not Hake something else. Here's a question from Tony C. I do remember you writing Chris all right back in the day. Did you dislike Chris back then, or is this hatred more of a hindsight thing?
I've never liked Chris. Ever. But my personal biases shouldn't color the material.
Yeah, that's the colorist's job. Don't tell me you wouldn't make that same joke if the roles were reversed right now.
All right, fair enough.
I know you. We got a question here from Doragon Ryu. Zombat attack IDW series, but gun fighting to Zombat. Gun commander, he is arrive. I wonder if they might mean he is alive.
I don't know.
But I don't know for sure.
It would have been fun. Of course, we don't really know fully what state Gun is in. We know that they got trounced in forces, thanks to Tails Tube, but we don't know if they still endure after that. So, I don't know.
All right, here's one from Metal Sonic 4.1, the Robot Hedgehog. Why do you guys lowball your own character? Sonic should equal or stomp Goku, mostly when the original SEGA games and feats contradict with what you're saying right now. Yeah, right now, Ian. What you're saying right now, contradicting.
Look, number one, Sonic's not my character. Number two, like, if we're talking Dragon Ball era Goku, maybe they're comparable, but if we're talking like current Dragon Ball Super, that's not even close. Like,
I don't even know if
but
I don't even know if Archie Sonic ever got to any point that Goku has gotten to.
Like, even some of the Silver Age superhero nonsense Archie Sonic could do.
Yeah.
No. What game feats are you talking about? Like we just touched upon. Supersonic gets slowed down busting through an asteroid. Goku could reshape the entire planet on a whim. Like Saiyan invasion level Goku. Okay, we're talking about measly, paltry Kaioken times 4, and they're blowing up mesas. They are reshaping biomes. Sonic cannot approach that even slightly. After that, once Goku gets instant transmission, that's it. Sonic's fast, but he's not instantaneous.
Mm-hmm.
Like, come on now. We're not lowballing. We're being fair. We're being legit. Sonic is certainly powerful within the context of his own franchise, but Goku is a completely different league.
And soon he will have a gun because he's going to be in Fortnite. So now he will be even more powerful. I'm just waiting for Sonic to end up in Fortnite at this point.
Almost surprised he hasn't already.
Yeah, I guess maybe it's the gun thing. They don't want Sonic carrying around a gun. Put Shadow in there, I guess.
Shadow.
Yeah. But then they don't want Shadow carrying around a gun anymore either.
No.
Dumb. Come on.
It's too bad because the marketing campaign's right there. Just reenact the Shadow cinematic.
Absolutely. Yes. Just bring it back. Oh, it'd be great.
Be worth it just to see him, floss with that constant glare on.
Yep. And our last question this week comes to us courtesy of Awesome Time. Who do you think is the most right-wing character in Sonic? Any continuity will do, and this can be based off an organization they run, personality, worldview, etc.
Nah. I'm abstaining from this one. I feel like it's going to get too political too fast. So I'm backing away.
The Babylon Rogues. They have both left and right wings.
Oh, for the love of it.
Listen. We want to avoid controversy, right? This is the way to do it. You're welcome.
This is why we need a cam feature this show, because I cannot in words express the face I am making at you right now.
Well, I mean, would you have preferred something else? Would you prefer I say something else?
What I would prefer is to give a big thank you to all the folks who support this show over at patreon.com/BumbleKast, Ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, and our YouTube members. Big thank you to Daniel H., Alex P., James K., John B., Jennifer R., Robotnik Holmes, Samuel P., Sam Cybercat, Mike B., Dave M., Coupling Crew 128, Duiz Dizdin, Jay Frost, Salute Your Cat, Andrew D., Hero of Light 13, Scruffy Matt, Ryan D., Chris A., Sonny, John M., Noni, Jib, Don B., Yami M., Lee H.K., Lisa M., Fiona M., Chevelle, Invade Turbo, Tunis, Ben W., Blue Title Gamer, Keeper of Monsters, Tick Tick, Access, Xanderoni the Painter, Final Neil, Scurvy Pirate Hog, Jonathan Ink Pants is missing his actual pants, the name is X, Justin S., Solaris Stain, Nemric, Godzilla, Dabbler the Dalek, Chaos Universe, Sonic Legacy, Daniel B., Ava Arctic, Pedantic Cat, Dove, Red the Supernamic, Arcfighter, Quaggle Gaggle, Chad, Nondle, Professor Rye, Jack the Animator, Cameron H., Les, Sapphire Scarletta, Alphamon or Yukon, Joshua S., Omega Watt, Preston M., Noah S., Finest Cacophony, Alex G.S., Kojiro Highwind, Supersonic Fan, Awesome Cakester, Radry, Jolene B., Chase L., Dapper Shinks, Just a Mountain Soul, Callan Q., Red Wolf, Ty H., Starlight Sec, and Tails, Matty H., KJB, John the Real Waluigi, Derucival, In Zephyr, Mox, the Marble Gardener, Owen BD, Lemur Chicken, Cosmic Cooking Hunter 77, Wild 48, T-Ranger, King Toasty, Miles the Prower, Navarre, Exidel, Agent Kaz, Sonic Fan, Lewis J., Michael P., Rhythm Raccoon, Fenris Asger, Pap, Delta God 77, Miggy Sawdust, Pignan 20, Ty Cyan, Jamal S., Ozjam, Shimmy M., Angela V., Lacey M., Unlikely Veronica, Phi, Timon B., Thievius, Smiley 21, The Flower Garden, Sammy S., The Seer Warns of a Deadly Fate, Bowser Studios, Tetsu Knife, Fang the Werehog, Crowbo, Sonic Mania 2099, Thigoff, Slumps, Hadron Kaleido, Nils, Chaos Sonic 1, Sky the Desu, Supernova, Indabend, The Disgayan, Superior Pizza, Charlie B, Chaos Shadow, Sonic PAG, The Cartoonist, Speedweed, Mobius, Celestial Sapien 73, Butter Noodles, Frost the White Lion, Danny the Light, Ryoko Shion, Zoom, Phelps G, Meta Mode, and Wheels 282 Hedgehog.
Thank you, everybody, for supporting us. You guys are incredible, and I can't say enough good things about you, but I can.
That's going to wrap us up for this week. We have a lot of stuff coming up. We have 2 special guest episodes. We have 2 special BumbleKast minis lined up, along with the regularly scheduled programming. So stay tuned, because there's a bunch of BumbleKast coming up. Until then, be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and we will see you next time.
See you next week. You've been listening to the BumbleKast, a co-production of Bumble King Comics and the KNGI Network. Original theme music composed by Ken Coda Snyder. Remixed intro by T-Lopes. Find out more information, along with podcast feeder links, MP3 downloads, and more at bumbleking.com and kngi.org. Raya is saying I could try saying nice things. You're cool. You're decent people. You seem all right. You seem friendly enough. Most of you. I don't know. Maybe you smell good. Did you take a shower today? You should find out. No? Oh, well, yeah, it happens. Thank you, Dove. I appreciate that I am not too ugly. Only a little.
No, they're prompting you to say that.
No, I think Dove is complimenting me in a backhanded sort of way. It's fine.